Hey folks, man, this is Monk and we're back with another episode of Classics of Cinematics. And I'm joined as always with my co-host Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, folks, man, we are back with another hit film from the early 90s. And this is an action thriller. And we're going to be talking about Out for Justice, starring Steven Seagal. And this film was directed by John Flynn. In this film, Gino Felino is a Brooklyn police detective whose partner and longtime friend is shot down in the street in front of his wife and children. The culprit is Richie Madano, a drug lord in the neighborhood who has known Gino since they were kids. With the blessing of his captain, Gino is sent alone into the drug underground to find Richie by any means necessary. Along the way, Gino uncovers secrets about his deceased partner that he never suspected. Hey, let's get into this cast, man. We got a lot of energy this morning. We got a lot of heavy hitters in this. We got Steven Seagal starring as Detective Gino Felino. We've got William Forsythe, who plays Richie Madano in this film. And we got a host of other people, man. We got Jerry Orbach, Joe Ciampa, Juliana Margulis, Gina Gershon. We got so many heavy hitters in this, especially people who will go on to become, you know, staples in films we would see in the future, like Robert Lazardo, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Sal Richards.
One that stood out to me was John Leguizamo. Before he was Blenny Blanco from the Bronx, he was Boy in the Alley in Brooklyn.
Yeah, we also got Dominic Chianese, John Tollers Bay. You might know him as a guy that tried to poison Bumpy's ice cream in Hoodlum. You know, and we a bunch of future mobsters, man, in this as well. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Shout out Raymond Cruz, too.
Yeah.
Tuco.
You know him from Tuco as well as Pushing Your Shit In. You know what I'm saying? We've also got Kane Hodder pops up in this. Harold Perrineau, man. This is crazy. The amount of people in this. Shout out to Kelly Jo Minter, who was a staple in films in this era, man. So many genres that she touched on and had a really long career. And it's crazy, man. Like I said, you watching this, you're going to see people who will become future characters and things like The Sopranos, you know, other, you know, Scorsese mob movies that were about to come out, The Casino, Goodfellas era and all that, man. So yeah, this is a fun film, man, in that regard. Also, shout out to Julie Strain, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my scumbags out there. You know who she is without me having to say much more than that. But let's get into this thing, man. This story is crazy. I think it does have a unique angle. We've got a ton of police kind of procedural films that were coming out there with these larger than life police officers tackling crime in the street, detectives. And this one is unique to me. I feel like we've got this character, Richie, who's just out of control. This Richie has done something that crossed a lot of lines. He's a mobster, but he's killed a police officer, which is one violation on a mob standpoint. And then he just goes on a rampage. He's so bad that the mobsters even want to take this guy out because he's doing so much craziness out in the street that he's making everyone else look bad. So that's what sets this story in motion. The title, Out for Justice. And it really is a flimsy premise, man. Basically, the goal, we got to get Richie and stop him by any means necessary.
And real quick, you know, it's funny because, you know, the title of this film is Out for Justice, but originally it was supposed to be called The Price of Our Blood. But Warner Brothers said, no, we don't do that.
What's wrong with that?
Well, every other Steven Seagal movie that had success had a 3-word name, Above the Law, Hard to Kill.
I guess,
Out for Justice. This was Warner Brothers.
Maybe it was like a superstition kind of a thing, a trend. You don't break the chain. If it's working so far.
It looks good on that VHS box tape.
If it's working so far, we don't change that. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever it takes. But you know, the thing I love most about this story is it is a testament of time. Those of us that were fortunate enough to actually live in the 90s in real time, these were the kind of action movies that we got. You know, and these were the kind of action superstars that would be in these movies. I mean, if it's not Seagal, it's Chuck Norris. If it's not Chuck Norris, it's Arnold or Stallone or even Van Damme, whatever. And Seagal, even though I particularly am not that
Charles
fond.
Bronson. I love Bronson.
Yes. I'm not that fond of Seagal. I feel like he encapsulates that narcissistic machismo in like the best way possible, which is not really a flex. It's not a good thing. But his movies are a testament of the 90s and those action films that came out in it. I mean, and not for nothing, regardless of, you know, put his outside of film life to the side, like he wore this well when it came to that over-the-top cop. I mean, he plays a very similar role in almost all of his films.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
it's kind of like a backwards charisma in a way.
Yes.
It's not like it's not like true charisma. I think it's charisma in the sense that he believes it. He's turned on by it. So it helps him actually come across better as a performer than he actually is. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. When you drink your own juice, dog, I mean, this is like, God only knows whatever, like, pregame workout speech that he gives himself in the mirror before he does these movies. Because, like you said, he believes it. And, I mean, you can tell in his mannerisms and how he talks. He's like, all right. He fully believes in himself and his ability to portray these characters the way that he does.
I think that's what makes it entertaining for me, at least, because it's so ridiculous at times, but it's like, yo, we going with it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and it makes something that would be otherwise forgettable kind of have a heartbeat. It's a twisted and janky, heartbeat, but it's moving. It's alive. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it's a heartbeat or a heart murmur,
It's alive. It comes in like especially the thing that I love, man, the intro to this, man. When he beats up the pimp played by the guy who played Valley in Hoodlum, and it's the craziest opening, and I'm like, yo, it is not even just that it's exceptionally good or anything, but it's just the spirit and the energy that I love so much, because he beats up this pimp, throws him through the window of this car. And all of a sudden, we're looking through the window that he's thrown
through the hole in the window.
And Seagal walks up to the hole, looks down in the car, and then boom, Steven Seagal.
Out for justice.
And I'm like, yo, where's this energy at these days? Like, it makes me laugh so hard when I saw that again, because I saw this movie first. I was in college. The homie had it on tape. And this was one that I hadn't seen. I've seen damn near all the movies that he had up to this time, for somehow Out for Justice escaped me. And I was like, yo, this one was kind of entertaining, man. Yeah. Like, how did I miss this? You know what I'm saying? It was blowing me away as I was watching it, how crazy it got.
And this is the kind of stuff where, yet again, Steven Seagal co-produced. So I'm sure it was his idea. And he was probably like, yo, I'm going to throw this dude through the window. All right? And then you go look through the hole in the window, then I'm going to appear.
I got to give credit to the director, man. Because like I said, John Flynn, he also did Lock Up, which is really well entertained movie. He also did The Outfit, which I haven't seen yet, but I got a copy of that coming in. Brain Scan.
I stand by Brain Scan. Brain Scan is dope.
Yeah, so he has a wave. So I'm pretty sure that was his idea.
I ain't trying to discredit, but it is one of the most entertaining opening credit scenes I've ever seen on film.
It was amazing. But like I said, it's an energy we don't have no more. And I'm like, I would love a resurgence of this kind of film. Give us these cops or these just neighborhood guys. We don't need $50 million to make a movie. Give them the guys like 15 or 20 million and let them have at it. And then we could get things that are probably entertaining, that pop. You know what I'm saying? That people would go out and see, and I miss
this one came in on 14 million. So I mean, that's pretty much what they did. And the cool thing about it is, yes, this film does have a great story. It is more layered than what we would think. The only difference is that where the story, the groundwork of the story is really intriguing, and it has a lot to work with. The way they overwrote Steven Seagal's character, that's where it's kind of like, whoa, that's really what takes it over the top. But the cool thing is like the big bad in Richie Madano, who's played by William Forsythe. His character is actually based off of a real dude, Constable Ference, went by Gus, and this dude was a mafioso, and he did actually kill an undercover cop in New York, and so then he had the mob and undercover feds or the feds after him at the same time. So that's where they kind of got the concept for this story. So the fact that it's kind of loosely based on some real stuff as well, kind of just gives it a little bit more of that heart. Use a little more
oomph. Yeah. But these characters in this thing are pretty interesting, especially our main guy here, Gino, played by Steven Seagal. And this cop just doesn't seem to be, I don't even know if he has a boss. He's out here just doing whatever. We do get a scene where his boss kind of, takes the reins off, like, yo, go do what you got to do. Bring this guy in, one way or another. He killed one of ours, which is kind of a tropey thing in the movies. We play that up. A cop dies, and then that's the worst thing ever. A cop dies. It's worse than anybody dies.
Than anyone dies. You know what my favorite part about that scene is not only does the captain take the lid off, he's like, yo, Steven Seagal, what can I do? He's like, all I need from you is 2 things. Just give me an unmarked and a shotgun.
Unmarked vehicle. I mean, yeah. That's a little slacking on the writing, but it's funny, man. But it's the energy of these films because they're not based on realism.
No,
none of these things are. It's just, even like I said, I just watched Action Jackson, and it's nutty. It's just nutty as this at some time. But what I don't think he's acting a lot in the movie. No, man. That's what's crazy about Seagal.
That's what makes him so entertainingly unlikable.
And if he is acting, he's acting like what he think is supposed to be cool and what's macho, and it's a weird kind of a glimpse into his twisted mind at times.
You know what he reminds me of? He makes me think of like professional wrestlers in the 80s and 90s, how they present this image and then they live this image so much in their profession that they can't put the line or there's no difference in between. So he believes that
Hogan couldn't turn it off.
He couldn't turn it off. So the only thing that he was able to cut down was his hair. You know what I'm saying? That's it. No more ponytail.
But he had a little one. It was a little
nub.
But aside from the Seagal aspect, this character is he's nutty, man. Like I said, I feel like he was one of these mobsters, and they kind of allude to that. He grew up in the neighborhood with these guys. A lot of these guys were their friends. He was best friends with Richie at one point. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Before, this whole thing transpired that got his partner killed, and Richie killing his partner. But even as he's moving through the film and you see the relationships with the other characters, he knows these mobsters on a first name basis, like really to the point where they're joking, they're ribbing each other a little bit. So I get the sense that whatever happened with his life, wherever he went to the military service and then became a cop, but he was probably on the road to be one of them. And I think that informs some of his mannerisms and behavior. That's why it's not out of the line for me, because I'm like, well, if he grew up around these guys and he was supposed to be one of them, he's probably going to act like them too. So I think that's where some of the douchery comes into it, and the whole attitude toward them and toward the job,
Yes, he just went right instead of going left. And that,
but his mentality stays straight.
I'm with exactly.
Stays right on that goon.
And the thing is like, I'm with you, because this is what gives his character a little bit more depth, a little more layers, and gives perspective and understanding without being forced. Like he just, as the movie goes for its hour and 33 minutes, they just peel back these layers, and it's not that they're trying to humanize him. They're just showing us as viewers why he is the way he is and how he's able to move so seamlessly through these streets, not just as a cop, but also when he's going into the underbelly. He is well respected by everybody. He's so much more than a badge.
If he's not respected, he's feared enough so he can still maneuver there. Because like that scene in the bar, you could tell everyone in that joint hates his guts. When they see him come, they're like, "Oh my God, here he comes!
Here we go!"
And he does. He flips the place over.
Yes, he does.
He's talked so much shit. I kind of love that scene. He's been top douchery in this scene.
Yes,
but it's so funny too at the same time, man.
And to all that over the topness, we do get these small spot checks where they do try to bring him down to ground level and humanize him, like we were talking with his interactions with all of the females in this film. He tries to give perspective. He tells a story about his father, and that kind of fueled his fire, seeing how hard somebody could work and not get nothing out of it.
I like when he sees Richie's dad.
He tells him straight up. He's like, "Yo, you know where your son is? Good. When you see him, tell him I'm gonna kill him."
My favorite part though is the mom knows what's up, because word gets around, and I'm pretty sure the dad, played by basically he's Junior Soprano. Yeah. And she's like, "Please, I don't want to kill my son." Yes. And it's like, man, I gotta do it. But then I like how the dad instantly comes to his to his aid. He's like, "Well, what did he do to make him kill him?"
Yeah, exactly.
Just like, yo,
bring justification. Another part of the movie that really tried to help, just make us feel like Steven Seagal has a heart in this is there's a part where this car is driving in front of him and then just throws a trash bag out the window, and in this bag was a little puppet dog, a little German Shepherd dog. And that's the difference between his character in the movie and his character in real life, because they've said that
they had to put that in there to soften him up just a little bit.
Yeah, they did. But then here's the thing. Steven Seagal, the real person, liked the dog so much that he offered the production crew $1 million to keep the dog. Damn. They refused in fear of the dog's safety. I can't make this stuff up. I can't make this stuff up. So,
hey, folks, man, this is Classes of Cinematics here with a word from our sponsor, man. You like hip-hop, man?
I love it.
You like underground hip-hop?
Give me my shovel.
We're here to talk to you about deadworldradio.com, man. And deadworldradio.com is an awesome site, man. They've got live old school style radio shows, man, where you've got a personality spinning the latest in underground hip hop, man. And these are live Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We've also got a new feature coming soon where they're going to play Classes of Cinematics episodes on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. And these will be, episodes that have films that are hip-hop adjacent, you know what I'm saying? Or have inspired hip-hop in some kind of way. And some of these will be having guest rappers on to, give us, new intros for these episodes before they play. Go to Deadworld Radio. It's dope, man. You've got a live feed from artists who are out actively putting out music. So if you want to put your own music on the site, you can. You can upload it there. You can sell it from there with the lease split that you got to pay to the site, even less than Bandcamp, dude. You could also have private links like Untitled. So if you want to, start collaborating with other artists and share work between each other, you could do that. You could also sell your own merch that way as well. It's got an active message board. We've also got an RSS feed that shows new releases on the site. So if you're looking for something new to listen to, man, so it's pretty cool, man. So definitely check out deadworldradio.com.
That's funny, on that note, let's talk about the bad in this. The bad in William Forsythe, he plays Richie the Menace. And, I was talking with you earlier about this. He is a testament of the quotable, hurt people, hurt people. This is a hurt man. He is a broken man. And he is running rampant on the streets of Brooklyn. And, at first we don't really know what's motivating him, what's driving him. We just know that he's a loose cannon. He smokes a lot of crack and he's got a loaded gun. You know what I mean? And he's taking people out in daylight, night. It doesn't matter, man, woman, doesn't matter who you are. And what I like about it is they set the tone for his character off rip. We see him run up on Bobby Lupo, middle of the day, boom, boom, boom. And then 2 seconds later, he hits the hard. Then he road rages on the lady, pulls her halfway out the car, shoots her.
What?
That blicky,
No, he hits the hard what though?
The hard rock. Crack.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, we can't leave that out. I think that's very interesting to me. That and the sister later says that he's on a 3 gram a day habit of crack rocks.
So he's smoking a lot of crack. You know what I'm saying? So he's got a very elusive drug habit. He's also out there serving, swerving, and killing people. And what I like though is as the movie progresses, the more that Steven Seagal finds out about what was really going on and this righteous cop, I want to defend my friend's honor. I mean, this dude was he wasn't a good cop, wasn't a good person. And, we find out that Richie was heavily motivated to do what he did. What really pushed him over the edge was all some punk shit that his girlfriend and Bobby Lupo, the cop that he killed, was doing. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't give justification. It just gives perspective and puts that rate.
Richie was wilding though.
Yeah, Richie was wilding.
that
I'm
was
not
crazy,
saying,
dude.
If you decide to dive off the deep end, don't start smoking crack and killing people. It's not.
Yeah, because even if it was an issue, man, I think just because of their relationship, Richie should have went to like, yo, man, your guy is blah, blah, blah. And, come to a more agreeable thing than just smoke this guy in broad daylight in front of his wife and kids. But I love Richie because the act is done. It's done, right? And he has no intention of turning himself. He owns it fully. And from that point on, I feel like his existence is just that I'm going to ride this to the wheels fall off straight to hell. Yeah. And like in the media, right after killing Bobby, he kills some random lady off the crack pipe road raging. And then it just keeps snowballing. Yeah. Because then you got... all of a sudden, he's riding around with a crew of guys in a car, the single car. His goons are just loyal to death, man. Like, those were some loyal goons, bro. But I think they're all on drugs too. Yeah, so there's that incentive.
There's financial incentive too, because at the very beginning, it shows the goons, and he lifts up this safe. He's like, "Yeah, look in there, all this dope kilos and money." He's like, "Yeah." rock with me on my last way out, rock with me for today, and all this is yours.
Yeah.
He's on a 24-hour high. He's going to do what he's going to do today, and he doesn't plan on making it to tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the one thing he's not telling
it's
nobody.
Nutty, man. And like I said, it's just bad because not only you got the dead officer, which is bad, you know, in mob terms, he's linked up with a mob, you know what I'm saying? So that's known, you know what I'm saying, which is going to bring more heat on them. Yeah. So it really makes sense, you know, when the mobsters also send a hit out on him, but he's not helping anything at all, which kind of makes this film entertaining because he's probably, even though you do get the humanization that the, you know, infidelity with his girlfriend, but other than that, man, there is nothing to make you think that this guy has any humanity left. Even his dad calls him Animale.
Yeah,
I was like, yo, this is crazy.
I mean, but that's the thing too. And like I said, there's no way to justify his actions. It just kind of gives us an understanding of how he was already tightroping on the edge. We just see what kind of made him tilt all the way over.
And it makes this film way more entertaining too.
It does.
By having a guy like this to carry this and with Forsythe's performance on top of it.
And that's the thing. So I found out through reading some stuff that William Forsythe actually, this film was supposed to be about a half an hour longer than it was.
I'm glad it wasn't.
They over-edited it because all of that content that was clipped was all scenes with Forsythe in there, and Steven Seagal, as co-producer, demanded that got shaved down because he felt that Forsythe was outstaging him.
Yeah.
Because he's
a real actor.
He was.
He was.
They also said that Seagal went up to Forsythe at some point, who is a Brooklyn native. Seagal took it upon himself to go up to Forsythe and say, hey, man, I think you need to work on your Brooklyn accent a little bit. I'm doing a great job. You're not. Work on that.
That's amazing, man. That's what I'm saying. I love ridiculous stuff. And that's a ridiculous fact that makes this stand out to me, man. That's amazing. But also too, there was this thing had to get edited down too for violence, because the crazy thing is some of these scenes are a bit violent. Like I'm thinking about the deli scene. The guy's hand is pinned to the wall with the cleaver, but apparently they had to shave this down to avoid the NC-17 rating, you know, for the violence. So I wonder if those were extra scenes with Richie going a bit crazy too. You know what I'm saying? Which could have been interesting. And as far as I know, that's cut hasn't been available. There have been versions that were released internationally that might have, you know, a few extra minutes, but as far as I know, there's no one has found a copy. It doesn't exist. You know, it's not out there. It's never been released in its original form, which I would like to see now.
Seagal probably burnt the film. It's like, no one's going to see that Forsythe is a better actor than me.
I mean, we can see this off the rip, though. Like, this is not even a question. Most of this cast is a better actor than him.
Yes, they are.
Just,
and you know,
just the facts.
There's really, the rest of the cast is just a bunch of spot checks. I mean, I did like what we got from Gina. What's her name? Gina Gelaron.
Gina Gershon.
Gershon. There you go.
Yeah.
I liked her spot in there as Bobby's sister. She kind of comes in, says her piece. You know.
Yeah, I think that's where we do get the most humanizing. It's not from Richie himself. It's from the people in his life that are talking about him. Like when even when the dad brings up hanging out with these two when they were younger, and even her, and I think the scenes with her and I think the other women, you know, Richie's sister, even Gino's wife, soon to be divorced wife, those scenes are really strong to me in character. They slow it down, but don't bring it to a halt, and they let this thing breathe a little bit before we get into the nutty machismo action and craziness. You know?
And so, I mean, I guess with that, we can segue right into the fight choreography, which one thing that Steven Seagal brings.
You sure they had a choreographer for this?
Oh, yeah, they did.
Well, who was the choreographer? Seagal?
Seagal, but the main choreographer was this guy named Gene LaBelle. I got a funny story to tell about this. So, of course, we all know that Steven Seagal is the guy, the American actor that high-pointed this Aikido style of fighting, which is pretty much using your body weight against you. He has a
lot of arm locks and holds and blocks, kind of, but
that's
also.
And you know, Seagal's he's a 3-trick pony. You know, we know what he's gonna do. He's gonna flip you. He's gonna kick you. He's gonna punch you.
Break your arm.
Break your arm, and make faces at you while he does it. But the thing is that you know, off screen, Like, he really believed in his abilities, and he went around the set and was saying, yeah, you know, my Aikido training, due to this, I am immune to being knocked unconscious, right? Like choked unconsciously. And this guy, Gene LaBelle, who is a 10th degree red belt in judo, he hears this and he's like, yeah, let me prove you wrong. You know, I'm gonna choke the shit out you. And that's exactly what he did. He L'd him out, knocked him out, and then their words, Steven Seagal defecated on himself, which means he number 1 and 2. You know what I'm saying? So he alleges that this never happened, but there were, you know, a lot of confirmations that this did kind of happen. So, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, but from what I'm reading, the multiple sources, this guy, Gene LaBelle, L'd him out.
It's really weird because I was telling you earlier, when I was a kid, I thought Seagal was a much better fighter than he was. Yeah. And I think when you're younger watching this kind of stuff, it's easy to be wow. Even when you know, things that I saw, even some Bruce Lee and Chuck stuff that I saw as a kid, it doesn't play the same as an adult. I think when you're younger, your mind fills in the gaps with imagination. So watching him now, I'm like, he's all right, but he's not even. I don't even think I would put money on him though in a fair one with most of these characters, because it could go either way. But it's funny to me because, like, it's not a lot of strikes and blows. It feels more like street brawling, like bar fighting stuff. Like I think Al Bundy could take him.
Yeah,
then, you know what I'm saying? And then you throw in a couple of these locks, and like you said, some guy will rush him and throw a punch, and he'll just. And then, you know, do the throw him on the ground thing, you know, flip him.
You know what?
And it's just like, it got more intricate. I think maybe later on in his career, he kind of forced himself to learn some more stuff, or maybe he got hired better choreographers to make him look better. Because by Under Siege, he actually looks like he knows something, you know, but this...
Not taking away, I don't think that it's not that he doesn't know, like, but also on film, it's the pacing. Like, it looks so choreographed. And let's not forget that he had a clause in his contract that he's not allowed to get knocked out or something. He gets hit one time in his whole movie. The guy hits him with the pool stick. You see what I'm saying? But he's out there, and he's out there really hurting people. Like the part where he throws Richie's face into the brick wall, he really chipped Forsythe's tooth. He also, I mean, so it's like, you're that good at your craft, but you can't even make it look real while not hurting these people. It's like, he's not good. He didn't. I don't. Like, and it was funny. I was looking earlier, like when he walks into the bar, I was like, yo, his physique looks like just a grown guy. He doesn't do anything. He's got a dad.
He doesn't look like, He looks like he doesn't do anything. No muscles. Even the way he saunters in, and I'm like, yo, this guy looks like just like a regular, like he don't do nothing.
Like, what do you do?
Like, damn.
You're out there super confident.
But again, this is the ridiculousness that I embrace. Like when you look at Action Jackson, this mug's muscles is bulging under his work shirt. It's just like, well, maybe he can flip over a car.
Exactly. You know exactly. Right. But Steven Seagal sure as hell can't. He can't flip over a tricycle. You know
oh my God. But it's amazing, man. I love it, man. Good or bad. It's a testament of this time, this period of filmmaking, and you got a ridiculous guy at the head of the show.
You do. I mean, this is just one of these things. I mean, it's like think of it like the Titanic, right? The captain's gonna sink or swim with the ship. You know what I mean? And even though Steven Seagal movies are a very niche thing, that, you know, he does have his following, and he did cement himself out as an action figure in the 90s. That's just what it is. I mean, likable, unlikable, whatever. There were a lot of people that did it better, yes, but he still did it, and he has that under his belt.
I said, this is a Friday night rental. It's going to entertain the family. You know, your dad's throwing beers back. You're on the floor watching this joint with him, and you're just like, oh, wow, this is cool. They're cussing. There's fighting. There's blood. There's shooting. And we got a car chase. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got hot women popping up on the screen here and there. So, like...
Not for nothing. Like, you know, I remember when I was younger, we would watch these movies. We watch Kickboxer and then want to emulate what they doing. Like, Steven Seagal, we could do that. You know what I'm saying? We could do that shit. I ain't out there doing the splits like Van Damme, but I can flip someone on my back like Seagal. You know what I'm saying? So we got that.
It's nuts, man. So one thing, too, that stands out to me, this thing has a very 80s soundtrack vibe, yo. Oh. And the music, I got to look up who did the music, man, for this thing.
I know they got that Beastie Boys joint in there. They probably spent half the budget on that No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Yeah. So the guy who did this music is a guy named David Michael Frank. And I think he did the score as well as some original songs for this film, including my favorite What's the joint
You
called?
about to play that joke. Shake the Firm.
Yeah, so Shake the Firm. And it's crazy because I gotta look at this guy's discography now, because I swear this thing sounds just like the instrumental to the Ninja Turtles, to the Ninja Turtles Turtle Power rap song, bro.
Yes.
And it's just nuts, man. Oh, apparently he's from Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out to that, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, film
shout
composer.
out to Shaking the Firm.
Let me see what else he got. Yeah, I don't know if they got a listing of his works in here. No, I can't find that, but it sounds so similar to that. There's a guy on there named Cool JT who I couldn't find nothing on, and this guy's rapping over this song, and he kind of even has the same tone as the guys, the Partners in Crime.
Yes.
It may be the same dudes, man. I got to do some more digging, but this thing does have a distinct 80s vibe, and the music kind of draws you in, man. From the very intro, when we see the Seagal splash on the screen, and then later on the car chase, man, that's got some energy and pulsing. Anytime there's a fight, it's kicking in at the right time, and then we get that little montage between the film. They're still hunting for Richie with a Shake the Firm.
Shake the Firm.
Yo.
And at this time, they're shaking down everybody's drug spots, shake spots, everything. They're going police brute
I don't
force.
understand what Shake the Firm means, though. It just says Shake the Firm, and we're like,
please, someone tell us, what does it mean?
Shake the Firm handshake, or
I thought it meant go get a lawyer.
what, or Richie avoid the firm that's coming after you, or maybe the firm
Or
is
how
a
about
reference
when
to
the
the
cops
mob.
come and stand firm?
Was he talking about Nas, AZ, Foxy Brown? Like, I don't know, bro. It's I couldn't, but it jams, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I Shazammed it. It pops up on my Shazam. I added it to my YouTube music. I'm gonna be rocking that joint.
Yeah, I didn't add it to mine. But I got hype every time them Beasties came on. I listened to that.
Yeah, but it's an effective 80s soundtrack, man. It fits this film so well. It just keeps it going. And really, what surprised me is watching this runtime, man. And I think that's a problem we've gotten away from. Is I love these 90-minute things, man, because there's no room to dick around with all this extra stuff that doesn't really add anything to your movie. There's been a few movies I've seen lately that are coming in at 144, and a lot of times when they're in, I'm like, yo, you could have trimmed some fat off of this, bro. What are we doing? Like, if it's not really adding to the filmmaking, and I'm not saying everything has to be a plot beat, but if it's not really adding to this overall experience, why is this in here?
Well,
man?
and I also feel like they also spend a lot of time on trying to overhit the nail on these subplots. Like a lot of movies, I love when the subplots hit just as hard as the main plot, but that doesn't happen every time, and it doesn't need to. Every character doesn't need depth or an extra layer. Let's just kind of stick to the focal point. And, that's one thing with Seagal movies. I don't know if he said it or they just knew it, but the focal point is him. Yeah. So they focus on what he's doing, how he's going to do it, and, that takes about an hour and a half.
Yeah,
That's good.
And there, even the subplot in him is just extensions of his life, because there's the one guy that he keeps talking to throughout the film, the other mobster guy, and it kind of fills in backstory on him and his relationship to these guys in the neighborhood, but it's also still comes in at under 90 minutes. Like they were able to fit that in and not, just bloat this thing out.
Exactly. And the only shaving they did do, like I said, was those extra scenes with Forsythe in it. And that's because he was actually overacting Seagal. And, speaking of the neighborhood, this did take place in Brooklyn. Some of the shots were shot on location, but most of the shots were shot in South California. I think South LA.
I was having thoughts about that because there were, I would say that LA stuff was probably the very beginning. That feels like LA. But the pimp scene, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Or when he's driving through to go pick up the extra two goons. That was LA too.
Yeah, but then I think the car chase, that was probably New York, where they're running under the trestles and in the street and all that. So and I was having that thought as I was watching. I was like, I wonder where this was filmed, So that's kind of interesting that it is split like that, I could see this bar probably being LA because it's like, and just with the stars, like I said, that they had in that, some of those stars in this cast were really LA people at the time, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Popping up in a lot of LA productions of that time. So you also got things like Colors and other just street stuff. And these are the type of actors that were populating those films, bro. A lot of these people have multi-credits in stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? Kind of playing similar roles,
Absolutely.
So that's interesting, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, overall, Out for Justice, man, it's entertaining, man. I don't know if it's good, but if I'm looking for something that I could kind of laugh at, you know, and just take it lightly, I don't really got to be focused and paying attention. I could look up at my favorite parts. I could kind of laugh at how ridiculous Seagal is being in this thing. And this is that, you know, and you get some action, you know, that's decent. And like I said, the story is good enough. It's, you know what I'm saying? To keep you locked in. Then I'm going to turn on Out for Justice.
There you go. And see, and he's been duly noted that I am not the biggest Seagal fan, okay? But I am a big fan of the 90s and that the movies that it produced. And these are some of those films. So now there is a list of action superstar movies I will put above Seagal, but he will find his way probably somewhere between like I'd say the 15s and the 25s, you know, after I get through all of the Arnolds and the Stallones and the Van Dammes and stuff. But, you know, he does bring a certain kind of energy. And one thing I will say about him is all of his films, his character arc is consistent. So if you watch one of his movies, you know what to expect from him in all of his movies. So, you know, you got that going on. The rewatchability, the entertainment's there. I was laughing all week. I was looking forward to breaking this movie down because it's just so over-the-top entertaining because of its ridiculousness. So, you know, those who haven't seen it, please go check it out. It's not hard to find.
Yeah, it's out there. And with that said, we're going to be back. You know what I'm saying? We're going to find our own kind of justice out here.
Hell yeah.
Bring it to you next time on the same channel, Classes of Cinematics. And yeah, you catch us at Classes of Cinematics on Instagram. And we're also on TikTok. And we also should be on your TV right now.
Yeah. And shout out to Deadworld Radio. We also linked up with them. You can catch some of our episodes on that as well. And this Bobby Blockbuster, you can catch me on the next show.
Peace.